Welcome back to another episode of the Prospects Live Dynasty Show. I'm your host, Eddy Almaguer. I'm joined by my friend, Ralph Lifshitz. Just the two of us today, Ralph. And I hope you noticed I called it the Prospects Live Dynasty Show, no longer the Prospects Live Dynasty Podcast. Of course, we are on a video medium. If you're listening to this in your car, you can park, open up YouTube, and there we are when you go to your Prospects Live YouTube channel. So you can choose either medium, maybe both at the same time, if you so wish. Today, Ralph, we are recording this on Monday evening. We are just a few days away from baseball officially being back. The long national nightmare is almost over, at least in the baseball world. It's going to continue elsewhere outside of baseball, that's for sure. But in our own little bubble, we have some reprieve coming this week. So first question I'll ask you, my friend, are you excited? Do you have mixed feelings? Are you still kind of pulling yourself out of that lull that we've been in all these months?
Yeah, I mean, I got out to a field for the first time that wasn't a little league field, and actually watched some draft players in a summer wooden bat league. You know, it was in Westfield, Massachusetts, not quite Cape Cod, and I was wearing a mask in 90-degree heat, so a little different than prior experience. But I was there. I behaved safely the entire time. Got my social distance, which I try to anyway because I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm at a baseball game. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I got a little Cody Morissette looks from BC. Hopefully I'll get some Sal for next time. And then this kid, Reggie Crawford, who just impressed me with just some thunder in the bat. Hit a couple of very loud doubles and loud out. And then they had to hit him the next time he came up because he was making too much noise. So that was nice. You know, they got me into the baseball mood. Got my, I guess, final redraft league. I try to only do a couple this year. Draft tomorrow. So that's daily moves. That should be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think I've been on record a few times, whether it was here on Razzball, and I've said that, you know, that's probably my preferred format. So kind of long story short, it's a very long-winded way to say, yeah, I'm ready for the season. I want to watch some baseball. I'm even full Boston homer wearing a Red Sox hat. That's because I didn't take a shower. See, Eddy, I still worked it into the show. You don't have to put that part in. And my hair's a mess. So there you go. It's quarantine life, dude. Still
you know. We get a lot of passes for these days for how we look, you know. So, you know, I'm excited as well. I'm in the middle of a redraft league, the only redraft I'm doing this year. It is, you know, thanks to you that we took the recommendation in my league. I finally gave them the push they needed to freeze our dynasty league. You know, we'll have a one-off redraft to determine the winner of the 2021 FYPD, the little torque. It's a little torque bowl, if you will. Hopefully that goes well. I'm excited. You know, I love redraft leagues. I think they're actually my strongest skill set, despite how many dynasty leagues I'm in. But yeah, well, before we jump into some TGFBI talk, of course, we had the very first run of Fab. Everyone was super excited, sharing their I guess their winnings or what they lost out on. Just before we jumped on, I saw that MLB is having an app where fans can tune in, and I'm saying this in air quotes for those listening to podcasts. You can tune into a game. So say it's the Nationals versus the Yankees this Thursday, and I guess it shows you which team has the most fans tuned in, and I guess you can boo or cheer. And along with that, officials at the stadium can then raise the volume, I guess, of the in-stadium noise based on the cheers, I guess, or the boos. It's a little weird, you know. I'm still learning the details, but Ralph, if you had to jump in on any team and like endlessly boo nonstop, I don't know if that means tapping a lot or something. What team are you jumping into to do that for?
Oof. I feel like I'm supposed to say the Yankees, but it's not the case. I've tuned into more Yankees inter squad games than I think just about any.
Not just Nats and Yankees, like any team.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying I'm wearing a Red Sox hat.
Oh well, okay, sure.
Behind me,
sure.
I'm supposed to say the Yankees. I'm just trying to put that precursor out there for anybody local that's watching. I'm not going to say the Yankees. Oof, dude, I don't know. I don't really hate any teams that much. You know what? I'm going to boo the Cardinals just to piss off Matt Thompson. He couldn't make the show today.
I was going to tell you there's an obvious answer, but then you said that, and that makes so much sense. And I'm such a big troll myself that I might go that route as well. But I mean, you got to go the Astros, man. No one's going to be there to boo.
I don't like you though.
No one's going to be there to boo them in person.
Man. now that we have all these bad things that happened in the world, like actual bad things, I look back on all the nonsense about people getting mad about stealing signs, and I was like, good for them. And here's another thing. That absolutely came from Goldstein, who used to write for Baseball Prospectus a million years ago. Because I believe him and Jason Parks wrote an article about this, about how the future of baseball was the camera in center field. And they figured it out, and they applied it. So if they were baseball writer prospect nerds that figured out a wrinkle and helped the team win a championship, I got to tell you, man, that might be my favorite team of all time.
You make a good point. Sometimes,
you know what? Like, obviously, it stinks. I don't want anybody to cheat. It's terrible. I'm also a Patriots fan, so you have to consider that.
Oh yeah, man.
I've already compromised myself.
You know what? Yeah, that's right. You got no say in this matter, man.
Other people. You know, if I was a player that played against them, it would bother me. But I also believe that there were probably a lot of teams that were doing a lot of different things. We've seen the Red Sox stuff come out. There was the Yankees thing that came out. I'm sure it wasn't an isolated incident. And we know that the system that Carlos Beltran supposedly used came from another team before he was traded there. So
I hope someone sneaks into Minute Maid Park and just like streaks, but with like banging a trash can at the same time. Just that would be my hero.
I mean, Altuve and Bregman and Correa are definitely getting like hit between the ribs more than anybody.
It might happen.
There's going to be a lot of errant sliders, you know.
Just slipped out of his hand. That's all it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, the obvious answer certainly was the Astros. I think that's where everybody's going to go. But I want to be an equal opportunity guy. I'm going to go, and I'm going to be a villain. I'm going to boo the Kansas City Royals, you know, because you know what? When you have haters, Eddie, when you have haters, it means you're doing something right. When you're upsetting people, it means you're doing something right. So I'm going to give the Royals, the Tigers players, I'm going to give them all a boost by booing them.
Okay.
Haters. They need some haters. That's when you know you've made it. So yeah,
I mean, the Royals are the most milk.
I'm going to boo you.
I feel the Royals are the most milquetoast team in baseball, and I can muster no emotion out of them when I hear Kansas City Royals. Nothing. It's just like a blank vanilla landscape in my head. All right, look. Speaking of vanilla landscape, that segue makes no sense, but we're just going to use it. TGFBI, Ralph. We had our first run on Sunday night. Big ticket items in my league were Rich Hill, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I'm not sure how to say the last name. Zach Britton, Cespedes. I got Nick Birdie for $65. That was my only really big bid. Rich Hill, for those curious in my league 19, if I'm not mistaken, $726. That's 72% of the manager's fab. Kiner-Falefa, $500, half of the fab of the season gone. So some huge bids. I'm not sure if I would have wanted. I mean, I bid on all these guys. I wouldn't have wanted them at that price.
I bid on all those guys too. But just like in my league, for example, the bids weren't that crazy. Rich Hill was drafted, so he wasn't bid on. But Aaron Hicks went to John Hagelin from Baseball Prospectus, right?
Yep.
428. Runner-up was 222. You know, but I get it. I get being aggressive on Hicks. And it's one of those things where, like, I honestly feel like that bid wouldn't have been that crazy if everybody bid. And this is something that I talked about with Gray over on the Razzball podcast earlier today, actually. But it seems like a lot of people didn't bid. His league was terrible. If you go and look at the post that he put on Twitter, he had a lot of guys that didn't bid. I think there's a lot of people that are checked out on fantasy baseball. And I don't blame them, especially if you had a lot of work. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly not who I am, but I think that the bids and some of the runner-up stuff and some of the conversation around that, I actually expected my league to be more competitive, more like yours. Give you a couple more bids. Zach Britton went for 428. I bid 119 on him. I have Aroldis Chapman too. I'm not convinced Britton's going to get more than like 2 weeks of saves though.
But yeah, Britton's numbers aren't very good. weren't very good either. He kind of skated by on a lot of luck last year too.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, there's some unique qualities to him, et cetera, et cetera. But if he's getting saves, he's getting saves for a good team. That's certainly what their value is. But it may only be a couple of weeks, so I just don't know if it's worth like that amount of money. But fine, you want to place your bet there. That's fine. Someone dropped Victor Reyes for me. I ended up picking up next week. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa went for 322.
And here's the thing, I that's a lot of money. I get it. Like third base, he's gonna get more plate appearances than a traditional
eligible.
Someone as a second catcher, like that's pretty fantastic. Like it's a volume play. I don't know if it's 50% of your fab volume play worthy, but I mean, more power to, I think it's Nando Defino took him in my league. We'll see how that shakes out. I now hope that he struggles, of course, because I'm selfish like that when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah, I was surprised. There was a lot of unmatched bids. And I think, in
your league, Nick Birdie and Kyle Crick not getting bid on, that was really surprising.
Yeah, I got him for 67 and 60, which I thought were relatively good prices based upon what I saw. He went for higher other places. Each of them did. And I could have got him for $1, which I was like, really?
Yeah. That should not have happened.
But Manning went for 121 in my league. Victor Caratini went for 79. Jonathan Loizaga went for 78. Jacoby Jones went for 70. That was uncontested. Corey Knebel went for 70. I think I bid 37 on him. Mike Fiers went for 70. That was uncontested. I got Monty Harrison for 49. There was a $38 bid there. Kenny Middleton was uncontested at 26. I got Danny Duffy at 24. That was a $3 was the next highest bid. And then a handful of other guys. Michael Fulmer, $13. $12 was the second highest bid. Yeah, I mean, there was just a lot of stuff here that I was a little shocked that people weren't a little bit more active. But, once again, it's this short season, people we're dealing with. So, I don't want to be a dick.
Certainly. I will be, though. If you're in Ralph's league, step your game up. Birdie and Crick should have been one. But then again, if you want to let another Prospects Live member float to the top, raise our site rankings, I won't say no to that.
Man, I don't know, man. This is going to be a volatile year, dude.
We'll see. Well, we got the whole excuse
for the whole season. I have no idea. 60 games, 60 games, man. You may not be able to. Because I usually ascend August into September. It's just usually green arrows up, stoinks, and all of a sudden, boom, 60 games might change everything.
Because that's when you're taking advantage of the managers who abandon the teams, and now you're just surging. Let's on the waiver wire.
It's also just the culmination of counting stats and just maximizing innings and at bats, as opposed to early flukes early on and maybe getting a little too married to a particular lineup or a player who hasn't produced in a few weeks. I'm usually pretty quick to move on with guys that aren't cornerstone roster pieces. I roster bait a lot in that league for what it is.
Well, like you said, 60 games, a lot of craziness can happen. So we figured let's have a little bit of fun. The season is upon us. We are gonna use this episode then to predict who might have an MVP season, the Cy Young, and the Rookie of the Year award. And I guess we'll just maybe give our best Rookie of the Year award. And we won't break it down by league. So what we wanted to do was, instead of just traditional MVP, Cy, Rookie of the Year, we have to choose someone who is after pick 100 in the NFBC ADP. So these are guys who we think have the talent to get hot in a 60-game stretch. Maybe they've shown it before. Maybe we think they have it in them. They're about to break out this year, and they can do so well that they can take home the league's highest honors in the MVP and the Cy Young. And then we'll shout out our Rookie of the Year. Ralph, I legitimately forgot there was two leagues. So I'm just gonna shout out MVP, one MVP name, one Cy Young name.
Okay.
That's cool with you. We'll roll with that. So
cool with me.
You are the color man here. So go first, my friend. Who do you got? Let's do MVP. Let's start strong from the top. Who is your MVP name after NFBC pick 100 ADP?
All right, so just going through here after pick 100 NFBC ADP, guy I'm going to go with for my MVP. I'm buying myself some time. Is Carlos Correa.
Okay.
I know it's not going to be a popular pick, but I feel like he plays an important position. And if he has a breakout season where, he could get hot, he's healthy. We've seen this before in a 60-game stretch. he could be the best guy in that team. And, I think the value there, just because he's a shortstop, he'll get some traditional voters as well. So that's going to be my MVP, because we're talking real MVP, right? We're not talking like the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, like at this point,
you have a runner-up as well, because I was between two guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, real MVP. But however, I mean, you assume that if someone goes so crazy and that helps you in fantasy, that they're in the conversation anyways for that real MVP, unless defense is such a strong factor. Carlos Correa, I've kind of been off Carlos Correa this year. I don't think I have any shares, but I mean, you'd be hoping for maybe 2017 Carlos Correa.
Yeah, I think he's got the talent. Well, I think the first half of last year, wasn't he? He's running the ball.
Here's something that maybe would blow people's mind. Carlos Correa is not yet 26. He doesn't turn 26 until late September. And the fact that he was drafted 8 years ago, first overall pick 8 years ago, Ralph, already, it makes it seem like he's just been around the league for ages. He just debuted really young. I think he debuted when he was 20, 21. So it's easy to forget and easy to overlook and easy to take him for granted. But you're right, the talent is there. I like that pick. He can explode. It's been a couple of seasons since we've kind of seen him really put something together, but I'm here for it, man. I like it. Astros got a shoulder too.
Kind of back it up a little bit is, his first half last year, he slashed 295, 360, 547. It was a 907 OPS. So
I forgot about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, still can hit. I mean, in the second half, he didn't play, I don't think, a ton of games. Batting average was relatively low, but he slugged 611 in the second half too. I mean, the talent is there for this guy to just have an absolutely insane season. Yeah, and I have a couple of runners up too, but I'll let you pick yours. And if you have some guys that you think are like runner up in the conversation, we'll go back to those.
And you didn't go very far past the 100 for Carlos Correa.
You really have to. I went all the way up to 300, and I was like, dude, the guys that are going to be in the conversation are in shouting distance, and that is since July 1st ADP as well.
And he has fallen, so he just became eligible for that. So 102. So nice job. Good little finagling there. For me, it's someone that's been a fantasy crush of mine for the longest, Ralph. I play in a ton of OBP leagues. This guy's always been there for me when I needed him, when times were rough. He was always producing. It's Justin Turner. They're based in for Los Angeles Dodgers. He, like Correa, he has the factor of I'm on a good team that's going to go places. We unfortunately have to assign some sort of winning percentage to the MVP player, depending on what team he's on, which I completely disagree with, but that's just the fact of the matter. So I think he checks that box off there. And like Carlos Correa, except in the second half of last year, I don't know if people remember, maybe just his owners remember, just how good Justin Turner was in the stretch. We're talking 284, 366, 605 with 17 home runs, 35 runs, 33 RBI in 53 games. I mean, the 53 games is probably the exact sample I expect Justin Turner to play this year. If he turns in those numbers, 284, 366, 605 with 17 home runs, that's an MVP type season for me right there, man. I think we're projecting that like Pete Alonso or I think Pete Alonso maybe has the highest home run projections now, or Mike Trout, 14, 15, 16 home runs. That's kind of the level they're at. So I can see it, man. Winning team. He's going to have a nice lineup in front of him. The counting stats are going to be there. And if he can get hot again, if he can kind of rekindle some of that second half magic, Ralph, I don't know, man. The red bearded man has a little MVP in him.
Maybe it'd be interesting. I mean, the numbers certainly back his ability to do that just with a bat. I just don't know. It's tough on a team like that with that many stars.
Mookie could ball out,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that could split votes for him. I think it's probably the same thing with Correa, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, it's a good pick. I like it. I could see it. It's fun.
Cool. So you had a runner up, you said?
Yeah, I think some runners up. I thought about Yasmani Grandal, just being a catcher. He comes over. If he hits really well in a 60-game sample, we see the pitching staff do well. The team does well. Everyone's like, we got leadership now. We get the writers to buy into that. All of a sudden, we have this weird Yasmani Grandal season where he's an MVP. That was the other one. And the other one was Michael Conforto. And if I wanted to get really fun, I was going to say Luke Voigt.
Okay, I like those names. I love Conforto and Luke Voigt. Luke Voigt maybe has a little bit of a. He's starting at the very least. That's a tough.
Oh, he's definitely starting. Yeah, he's their first base. Yeah.
Oh man, at 191 ADP for Luke Voigt, man, it was such a great fantasy grab.
I own more shit. I wish I had rostered him more. I didn't draft him enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I would get a first baseman and be like, oh yeah, I could have just waited on Luke Voigt.
Yeah, no, I hear it, man. Because first base is pretty shallow, so you don't want to take a chance because then everyone's looking at Luke Voigt.
Yeah, and we didn't really know what the situation was going to be this year either, with variety of guys in the mix there too. There's all that Mike Ford love too, so we'll see.
Yeah, I just hope my boy Mike Talkman, or rather Eric Alex Chamberlain's boy, I guess he's the public owner of Mike Talkman, who I don't think he has any playing time in his.
He did, man. Detroit should trade for this guy. I don't understand why a team like that wouldn't trade for this guy and get him in the lineup every day and see what happens.
Oh, that'd be a dream. That would be a dream.
Yeah, because I think he's a productive enough player. Him and like Adam Duvall should be on like bad teams. Bad teams should go after guys like that and then bring up their prospects. And they're like, voila, you have a team. It's essentially what happened with Nick Markakis.
Yeah. You're on the money.
He was an important piece in that Braves team last year. But all right, you want to go on to Cy Young next or what?
Yeah, Cy Youngs. You can kick it off again. Who do you got for Cy Youngs again past 100 ADP?
Man, I jump into this pool every single year, and I always own this guy all over the place. And sometimes he's great, and other times he kills you. But I'm back in again, man. And I'm back in even more after I saw
I know what you're talking about now.
Lance Brozdowski's breakdown of his improved mechanics and particularly his arm stroke and how much he's shortened it and strengthened his lower half. That would be Robbie Ray. He looks like he's in legitimately, I'm not lying here. He legitimately looks like he's in the best shape of his life. If you look at his lower half and his core, and just even how his gait moves, he's significantly more nimble, more athletic. He's getting more drive out of his back leg. His front leg, his plant leg, is actually landing straighter a lot more often, more on line. And his arm stroke, he shortened from really long to very short, almost like I'll say like a Jared Schuster sort of arm stroke. Both lefties that kind of have that shorter stroke. Really, really efficient. It's allowed him to throw more strikes. He hasn't lost his stuff. You give me Ray's stuff and his ability to actually land all of his secondaries and his fastball where he wants. Whew, that guy can win MVP. And he's not that old. I think Robbie Ray is still only
28,
27. Oh, he's 28. All right. So he's still,
he's
in prime years.
Yep. I know. I mean, this is someone who has a strikeout rate of at least 30% the last 3 years. And, the walk rate also double digits, 10, 13, 11. Exactly. But you named it. I mean, this is a 60-game season again, guys, where all you need is just a nice hot stretch. And when you got Robbie Ray's dominant stuff, and now like where you said, Ralph, is essentially improved mechanics, shortened armed action. I'm with you, man. I'm going to be paying very close attention to Robbie Ray. I remember I got him almost as a throw-in in a dynasty league early in the offseason. So that really excited me when Lance posted that tweet. Quality follows always. If you guys aren't following Lance Brozdowski, please do so. Lance Bros, BROZ.
One of the founders of Prospects Live.
One of my forefathers.
Yes, exactly. But I think the other thing I wanted to bring up too is people kind of forget this guy was insane in his second half in 2018, and he legitimately won people leagues. Go back and look at the numbers. I'm looking at him right now, just in peripheral. I don't really want to mention ERA. It was 3.23. Take that at face value for what it's worth. But going in, 11K per nine, 30% strikeout rate. The walk rate was still pretty high, but his batting average again was like 196. The numbers were awesome, and he went on an absolute run over that period, and he's going to rack up the Ks. So if he can keep his whip, he gets his whip under 1-2 and, cuts the walk rate down to 7% with that 30% strike, or even if it dropped down to 27, 28, that guy can be dominant because he's really tough to barrel,
No, he's pretty disgusting, and he's always one of those guys that it could be a 6-inning, 15 strikeout game, and like that's and you accept it. And those numbers are going to be huge this year. If you get that in roto leagues, that's going to be disgusting. My guy doesn't maybe have the firepower of Robbie Ray, but I mean, maybe I'm surprised he's even in this season. To be honest, I'm talking Carlos Carrasco of the Indians. I just kind of want to remind people, including myself, to be honest, because I haven't really sought shares of Carrasco this year, even in redraft league. But I had to go take a look back at how good he used to be, because this guy was a perennial top 15 pitcher in baseball. And from 2016 to 2018, it's about just over 500 innings, 3.33 ERA, 3.21 FIP, 10K per nine, 2 walks per nine. He was about as robotic and automatic as you would want. The Indians were in their prime with Kluber and Carrasco as their big 1-2 punch. And this is someone who, he has his pitches all the way up. He's ready. The Indians have done a really good job of getting all their pitchers in shape and able to go deep into games. You have the weak AL Central. You're facing the Tigers. You're facing the Royals. Potentially good White Sox team as well. And then, Twins are certainly tough. But then you have some crossover into the NL Central. A lot of decent opponents there. But, Pirates or whatever. You got Cardinals and Brewers and Reds are all good, but they're not super fantastic. So I think there's a good mix there for Carlos Carrasco to really bust out. It's a comeback season, recovering from cancer. So just a feel good story all around. It'd be hard pressed not to give it to him if he doesn't turn in like a 3 ERA with, again, a 10K per nine and an appropriate amount of innings this year. What do you think about Carlos Carrasco, Ralph? Can you see it happening, or am I reaching?
Yeah, no. I mean, he makes all of his starts. Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like he's healthy. He's back. He's great value. I probably should have chased him a little bit more during draft season. Maybe I have an opportunity to rectify that tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah,
he's 120 overall in the NFBC ADP. So, behind guys like Lance Lynn, whom I absolutely love. Behind Jesus Luzardo, who unfortunately he has COVID, is recovering from it right now. Behind Frankie Montas. So yeah, I think it's a decent spot, a good spot for Carlos Carrasco. But there you go. So I think we have MVP for me, Justin Turner, and Cy Young Carlos Carrasco. From Ralph, Carlos Correa MVP, and Robbie Ray. These are guys that are going outside the top 100. Guys we love this year that we think can really turn it around and turn in some spectacular seasons. Let's do a rookie of the year. Just a general rookie of the year that we think is going to go great, Ralph. What do you think? You want me to go first, or do you need to casually speak for a long time and come up with a name as you speak?
No, I have a name, and I'm gonna dig a little deeper here too if you want me to. Evan White. I'm gonna throw Evan White out there. I also considered Kyle Lewis.
Nice.
But I have a feeling that White might come up. He's we're certain he's gonna have a starting job, so there's more certainty there of his role on an everyday basis. I think he's gonna play every day. He's gonna get on base. He's gonna hit for some power. And his batting average should be pretty good. I just think an all-around solid season. He's a solid defender. And there's even some more upside, I think, in terms of the power, especially if we get the super juicy fun ball again this year. And he was hit in the worst park in the minors, the same way with Kyle Lewis in Arkansas, that really, really crushes power. So those are two guys that I would consider. I lean a little bit more on White because I feel like his role is more defined, but it'd be fun if it was Kyle Lewis.
Dude, a Kyle Lewis Rookie of the Year season could look pretty disgusting. I mean, of course, we've seen it on Twitter. His suggested home runs. Oh, the power is there, man. He's getting
back. He's running better too in the outfield. If you watch some of those games, he looks like Kyle Lewis from Mercer. He looks like the
Golden Spikes winner,
5 FYPD player. Top 50 player in fantasy baseball. He's creeping back up there again. I think I have him in like the 60s right now, but I'm being a little conservative. I do love me some Kyle Lewis. So I'm excited about what Seattle. Going back to what are we excited about with baseball? I'm excited to watch Seattle. I'm become a Mariners fan. Forget this hat.
Yeah, let's join Joey Doyle and Juicy Jensen. Let's jump on the bandwagon with them.
Yep, I hang out with Doyle enough. We talk enough. I think it works. By proxy, I'm a Mariners fan.
I mean, man, Kyle, I mean, and honestly, it's a very crude method, but I'll go back and I'll check who won the Golden Spikes one year to just kind of maybe get an idea of like who should I really be chasing with the talent. Of course, like I mentioned, Kyle Lewis won the Golden Spikes winner. This is an award for those who don't know. And college is kind of like the overall MVP award, if you were the Heisman of college baseball.
It's the Heisman in college baseball.
And he was the first person out of Mercer, not a well-known school, certainly not a well-known school for baseball. First person out of the Southern Conference to win the Golden Spikes Award. And he was just so good. I'm looking at his numbers: 395, 20 home runs, 72 RBIs as a junior. Man, he was such a dynamic player. Unfortunately, got just destroyed by injury. So I'm with you, Ralph. I love that name. I love both call-outs. Evan White. I'm a big Evan White fan, especially in my fantasy list. I think I have him top 25, top 30. I think is where I have him. I'm pretty aggressive with him. Love those two names.
Higher than me.
What?
I said higher than I am.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I remember we had a discussion on it one time on one of our podcasts. I think we were discussing our top 100s and our differences on Evan White. You felt maybe he was a bit more in line with what other first basemen were going to do. I thought he could maybe pop out because of that power. But good names by you. I think for me, I'm going to go with a bit more traditional. I just think it's going to be because of the team's going to need him very fast. Spencer Howard. The Phillies are lacking pitching depth, man. They cannot keep Spencer Howard down on the farm more than a week. And I know they're going to hold him down at least 7 days. But you got Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are your top two guys, and then just a bunch of question marks. Yes, I think Jake Arrieta is a question mark, and then you got Vince Velasquez, and I'm missing someone here. If I'm missing him, it's because he's not that much not that consequential. So I think with
we're talking about the Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies. Nola, Arrieta.
What's his name? How
Zach
am I drawing?
Wheeler.
Yeah, no, not Zach Wheeler.
People are screaming at us in their cars right now. Hold on.
They are. They're saying Zach Eflin.
Zach Eflin. Yeah, Zach Eflin. There we go. Certainly not Pivetta. So yeah, Zach Eflin, who I sort of like just a little bit. But
Enyo too.
Don't give me that, man. Enyo is just I'm done with him. And, he can stay in AAA forever for all I care. So Spencer Howard, he's got the goods. We saw him soar last year. He had some injury woes, but I think we can certainly accept that he can pitch, 40, 50 innings this year. And he's going to be dynamite. At least that's my expectation, that he has someone that can carry this Phillies team to relevance. The NL East is kind of tough, man. You got the Braves, not unlike the NL Central, where there's a lot of teams vying for that division title. You have the Braves, you have the Mets, who have a fantastic team, and you have the Nationals, and of course, Ralph, you have the Marlins, of course, who are certainly going to be in competition for the NL East title. But I think Spencer Howard and maybe even his teammate Alec Baum, who could also be a contender for Rookie of the Year, can come up and give them that push they need. And when I released my NL East quick hit breakdown, I chose them as their secret weapon. So and if you haven't read them, please do. We've been releasing, again, quick hit breakdowns, what we call them, where we went division by division, and we tried to have some fun with it. For each team, we chose a strength, a weakness, an out of nowhere guy, and a secret weapons. And we let people get creative with it. For example, my secret weapon for for the Mets was Luis Rojas, their manager. Their weakness, the schedule. Not just players. Whatever. So please do read it on prospectslive.com if you can. Ralph, I got Spencer Howard as my guy. Certainly, just like Kyle Lewis, Evan White, we can see an easy path to a Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he's one of those guys you can mention. Certainly, of course, Louis Robert is another one. Carter Keegan, Gavin Lux. Those are the names in the tips of people's tongues.
Sure. Ralph, I think a relatively short one for us today. I got some wrap-up stuff, but any closing thoughts on anything from fantasy to TGFBI to baseball to prospects? What you got? What's on your mind?
No,
friend?
man. I mean, I'm excited to just get back into the swing of covering some games and some action, and we'll probably see some more MLB coverage. We got the top 500 coming out very soon for fantasy. First time that we're diving in that deep, I think, on just a massive list. So that's going to be available for everybody to play with and download, digest, go back, check out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got some big interviews coming up very big interviews coming up on the draft show over the next couple of months. Really big college name in particular that we're working on right now that we got some confirmation on the other night. But I'm not going to mention that. Big market tease. And yeah, just working on my draft stuff. I'll be working on some fantasy stuff on the side, and I may even start, covering games and MLB stuff from my couch just to have something to cover and write about. I'd like to expand the MLB coverage just on the site, and with no actual MILB games, it seems like the right time. So might do some of that, but you know how it is, man. I'm always putting something out. I feel like I probably put out a piece of content every day, a show, a podcast, something. So we're keeping it rolling, man.
Always grinding. Yeah, certainly. And I want to call out a few pieces on our Prospects Live side. Joe Lowry, who recently joined Prospects Live, he is our baseball card guru. Hashtag collect, hashtag the hobby, if you will. He recently released his new series called Card Stock Watch. If you're into baseball collecting of any form, it's his take on what to do. Like whether to sell a baseball card and why, whether to buy one and why. This week it's Clark Schmidt. Click to see if he recommends selling or buying Clark Schmidt, who's been impressing quite a bit in spring. I was going to say spring training, summer camp. Again, like I mentioned, that we have the quick hit breakdowns on all the divisions. We have one more to go. By the time you hear this, it's going to be NL Central will be posted. Ralph, your AL East will be the last, but certainly not least. We have the Fantasy Dojo series is revived. Our editor, Sam McWhorter, who knows almost nothing about fantasy baseball. He kind of enlisted me to be his guru, his sensei, hence the Fantasy Dojo name. And I'm basically giving him advice on how to manage a 20-team redraft league with Fab. He was asking me, Eddy, what the hell do I do about Fab? And I gave him some generic advice. I'm not giving him the answers. I want him to figure it out for himself, learn on his own. And like you mentioned, Ralph, we will have a top 500 coming for Dynasty Prospects. That's going to be super exciting to get that done. We're working on the finishing touches there. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned again, Ralph, Thursdays we will be airing the MLB Draft Show. You and Joe Doyle have done fantastic with your interviews and your breakdowns. We do have a top 100 of the 2021 list out already. You guys will be slowly expanding it as the months and the weeks pass by. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah,
we'll probably see 25 or 50 more, I would say, sometime in the next month. And, I want to kind of slow roll the 200 and the 300. And we're going to build out to 5 there by the time the draft rolls around. Excuse me, losing my voice there a little bit. But, it's something we're having a lot of fun with. And there's been some stuff that's happened since we last recorded. Wooden Bat Championships down in Georgia. A lot of big performances from a lot of big names. Some guys who are going to move up the board even more. They've solidified themselves in some of their performances at PG National and some of these other PBR pop-up events. So I think that's really interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Really interesting prep class this year. And we're getting an extraordinary amount of looks. But this week's show, we dug into Wooden Bat League. So Joe and I were going through all these sort of hodgepodge wooden bat leagues, the one good team here, the one good team there, telling you where you can get some good baseball action throughout the country and who to keep an eye out for.
Sweet. And certainly we announced it last week, but just a reminder, if you're in our best ball leagues, we have rebranded. They're called the Dynasty Baseball Championship, TDBC. Please follow the new account on Twitter. Other than that, we hope you have a great first week of fantasy baseball. Next time we chat, Ralph, we'll have some standings already in play. We'll have some disappointments, some surprises. So looking forward a week from today. If you're listening, whether you're listening on our YouTube or podcast, appreciate it. What you got for me, Ralph? I see you waving your finger.
Week 1 overreactions coming at you soon.
Oh, baby.
The greatest overreactions you've ever seen in history are about to happen. It's overreactions. That, don't steal it.
And victory laps. Get ready for them on Twitter, everybody. Get ready for the victory laps.
If Tyler O'Neill goes bananas in the first week, I'm going to take a victory lap every day.
Naked.
No, I'm not ready for that TO life yet. So give me a couple more weeks with the rack. Maybe I'll feel comfortable enough to go full Tyler O'Neill, like rip the shirt off.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for listening or thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week on the Prospects Live Dynasty Show.